In this next set of videos, we're going to talk about solving radical equations. The idea is really pretty simple. So, all you're going to do for most of these equations is you're just going to get one square root or higher order radical if you have it, but basically get a square root by itself, and then you're going to square both sides to get rid of it. Once you've done that, hopefully you have an equation you can solve. So, solve the new equation, and absolutely no matter what, you must check your answers. There's two reasons you got to do this, and one is the usual domain issue. I mean, if you plug your answers back in, you don't want to have square root of a negative, because you're not supposed to take square roots of negatives until we get to complex numbers here in a little while. The other reason, and much more important, is that the squaring is not one-to-one. All that means is I can take two things that aren't equal, like say 5 and negative 5. Those are not the same. But once I square both sides, those are the same. Which means that if you squared both sides anywhere along the way, just because two things are equal at the end of the problem doesn't mean they were actually equal at the beginning of the problem. So anytime you do squaring on both sides, or more generally, anytime you do a function that's not one-to-one to both sides of an equation, you absolutely have to check the answers at the end. So, alright. Well, in this video, we're going to kind of stick to simple examples. And then next video, we'll do some that turn into quadratic, or where you have to square twice and stuff like that. So let's take some simple ones to start out with. Say square root 2x minus 3 equals 7. Well, they already did the first step for us. We have one side that all it has is a square root on it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to square both sides. The square and the square root cancel out, so this side just turns into 2x minus 3. The other side, 7 squared, is 49. And now we have an equation we already know how to solve. First we get the x's by themselves, so 2x is equal to 52 divided by 2. So x equals 26. And then the last step is to go and plug this in, make sure it works. 2 times 26 is 52, minus 3 is 49. So sure enough, square root of 49 is equal to 7. So not only did we get 26 when we plugged the 26 back in, it actually worked. So that would be our x. Let's try one that's not much harder, but maybe a little bit. Let's say square root of x plus 7 minus 9 is 12. Well, the only difference between this one and the last one is we don't have a square root by itself. So first thing, we got to get the square root alone. So add 9 to both sides. Square root of x plus 7 is 21. Now that we have a square root by itself, we can square both sides. So x plus 7 is all we're going to have after the square and the square root cancel. So, and then 21 squared is 441. And last but not least, subtract the 7. So x is 434. And I'm not going to check it, but you really should go back, plug this in, make sure it works. Okay. Well, the interesting ones that don't work will pretty well come in the next video, but let's go ahead and do a silly one that doesn't work. Let's say square root of 5x minus 4 is -3. Well, if you kind of do your usual whatever, first you'd square both sides. So you'd have 5x minus 4 is 9. Add 4 to both sides. 5x is 13. So x is 13 over 5. But really, we didn't have to do all that work, because I can already tell you, there's no way that equation we started with has any solutions. Sure enough, if you plug 13 over 5 in here, you got square root 5 times 13 over 5 is 13, minus 4 is square root of 9. Well, when we take square root, we're always supposed to take the positive one. There's no way, if this side is square root and that side is negative, I mean, square root of 9 is positive 3, it's not negative 3. So there's actually no solution. And again, that one seems kind of like a silly reason to not have a solution. You could just look at the beginning and say, oh, it's negative, so not going to have a solution. But in the next video where we do equations that lead to quadratics, we'll see some more interesting times when we get solutions down here, but they don't actually check up top.